That is some good coffee to have after having a really good day of being an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hey guys, what is going on? Coming to you live from Anaheim, California, where me and my girlfriend are in town to attend Wondercon. Right off the bat, that is exactly the reason for why, unfortunately, this review is going up rather late. You guys know that I try my best to do Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reviews as quickly and as timely as I possibly can. But unfortunately, due to certain circumstances, whether it be scheduling with Wondercon, actually, Wondercon wasn't even that bad of big of the issue. It was actually, unfortunately, Wi-Fi connectivity issues, whether it be here in the hotel room that we're staying in Anaheim that unfortunately has shitty-ass internet, as well as the convention center that Wondercon happens to be in also has shitty internet, which comes to be expected because everybody's there, everybody's using up the internet, everyone's using up the bandwidth. So trying to get the review up on a timely manner just did not happen. And so by the time that Saturday night kind of came to a boil, I just figured, fuck it, I'm going to reshoot this review, keep it as short as I possibly can and straight to the point as I possibly can, because this is an episode that I just could not pass up on reviewing. No matter how late it is, although I'm going to try to worsen the damage of how late the review is, especially while Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is hot on my mind. As you guys can tell, judging by my shirt, I checked out the panel today. It is Saturday at the time of this recording, and so I am hyped up besides the coffee that I'm actually currently drinking. I want to talk about this new episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was a doozy. It was really seminal for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to kind of come back with a punch to the gut episode after what I consider to be somewhat of a filler episode last week, and boy did they not disappoint. This was exactly the thing that they actually do from time to time, which is to give you a filler episode and then follow it up with a quintessential episode that just makes you go, okay, this is what S.H.I.E.L.D. is all about, especially when they're so, I guess for lack of a better term, late in the game that they can afford to punch you in the gut with certain things that happen with characters that you've stayed for an awful lot of time, especially with really likable characters that had some of the best arcs. And of course, this episode was all about once again taking a character like Fitz and just putting him through the ringer, mostly on a mental and emotional level as opposed to physical, because he was already kind of tormented at the end of season 4 with his acts that he committed while being in the framework, and now it's almost like those acts are coming back, literally coming back to bite him in the ass, because with the capable opportunities that the Fear Dimension presented, the S.H.I.E.L.D. team, and by the team I mean the actual writers and producers of the show and the director, were able to extrapolate the best opportunity they could with this Fear Dimension. Now, I love it when shows are able to do that, and they manifested evil Fitz from the framework, or as they call him, Leopold the Doctor. You know, as different terms to kind of come up with him. And so he comes out of the rift and causes some internal chaos, because obviously this is not a guy that's physically imposing, but he is smart, he is capable, he's gonna get shit done. And ultimately this episode cemented Leopold the Doctor as arguably being one of the best villains of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe not the MCU per se, but for sure Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. he was one of the best that has come in a very long time, maybe since Hive. I would probably say he was the best villain that we've had in a really good while, because of what he was able to do, and also the motivation they gave him here. Because sure, his motivations were a little bit different than they were in the framework, but the fact that he was actually, his whole plan was not only to experiment on Daisy, but to also unlock her powers and also come up with the way to close the rift and save the world, even though he's essentially just going to do more evil doings and experiments. It was a really hard thing for our characters, mainly the real Fitz, to argue against. So he's like, fuck, you're right. And of course, the best villains are the ones that make you go, you kind of have a point. And most recently, Marvel's been nailing it with Killmonger from Black Panther, and now they did it again on the smaller screen with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that was pretty damn awesome. And leading up to that, like I said, there were things where you were really feeling for Fitz's internal struggle, especially after other characters are really bringing it home, saying that, yeah, he hasn't been getting that much sleep. But then the episode did hit a minor snag for me when it was unveiled that Fitz, or Leopold the Doctor, was actually not an anomaly from the Fear Dimension, but it was actually all in his head, aka the Fight Club twist that we've actually seen in another TV show that I'm actually not going to mention, just you know, to be on the safe side, in case some of you guys were planning on watching this techno thriller TV show that's currently in between seasons and has been greenlit for a 4th season, so maybe you guys might want to be checking that out. They took that same type of twist here with Evil Fitz. I was getting ready to wince just a little bit, not because it was terrible, because it was handled very well. It's just the fact that I'm seeing it happen here within an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode makes me go, does it really need it? I think I would have appreciated it just a little better as an actual anomaly of the rift rather than it being in his head, because like I said, it's kind of becoming something that an awful lot of people that really love twists and want to Shyamalan the whole thing say, oh, it was all in his head. And you know, I've seen it in shorts, I've seen it in certain things, and now we've seen it in a handful of TV shows, like I said, the one that I was kind of alluding to, and now Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So that was a little bothersome to me. I mean, it wasn't enough to damper on the episode, but I did look at it and going, I don't know how I really feel about this. But then, so expectations were subverted once more when the writers and the S.H.I.E.L.D. team were able to do something that was actually contrary to what I was expecting from this twist that I've seen before, which is to have Fitz actually go through with whatever it is that he was going to do, with having that character, instead of telling that evil part of him to fuck off like Edward Norton kind of did with Brad Pitt in Fight Club, or certain characters trying to do, or at least trying to work together with that other part of him in that other show that I'm talking about. And there goes the car. Fitz actually kind of gives in and even admits to saying that, yeah, this was the right thing to do, this needed to happen. And that was a holy shit moment, because he goes through with getting rid of the little inhibitor on Daisy's head. He goes through with confessing to it and you know, forcing, well, not really forcing her, but kind of colluding her into using her powers to put the gravitonium into the thing and close the rift, at least for the time being, because it looks like it was enclosed in the thingy as opposed to just being completely obliterated. So maybe a MacGuffin for future episodes or future seasons should this get greenlit. Knock on wood. This is actually literally wood, so wow, it applies. But going through with it and seeing how this is going to have a Civil War type of effect to the S.H.I.E.L.D. team is definitely something that I'm looking forward to, and I have to give credit to the writers for going through with it and having the cojones to follow through with it, especially at the end of this episode where you have Daisy saying things like, I'm never going to forgive you, and the rest of the team just having trust issues with him and fracturing the newly formed marriage between him and Gemma, who, poor Gemma, goes through the ringer in this episode to the point of vomiting there at the end of the episode, where she not only gets this major event of Fitz doing something that was ethically wrong, but then to have Deke drop the bombshell that, yeah, he is their grandson right at the ending of the episode here. It just makes you wanna, you know, make sure that much like Deke was wanting to do at the earlier in the episode, you want these people to kind of survive, which once again also complements Deke's character, because like I said, this guy was an insufferable shit stain during the first half of season 5, and it's good to see that now he has that puppy-like wonderment to not only the things that are going on around him, but also his outlook on Daisy, and I mean not Daisy, well, kind of Daisy, because it's kind of crushing on her. But mainly Fitz and Simmons, and ensuring that they're going to survive for a very long time. It's endearing. It's a really endearing quality for the character, and I'm glad that they gave him that to do. And all these things really hit the feels strong to the point where I felt that swelling feeling in my throat. And it was enough to almost make me forget how slightly, tiny bit shallow the whole thing with Coulson really was, which was probably the biggest detriment to the episode, was everything that was going on with Coulson actually managing to quote-unquote capture Hale, only for Hale to kind of pull the Joker card and say, oh, I plan to get caught with my team here, and essentially taking Coulson out of the equation, which serves some purposes, mainly to kind of get Coulson and May, who are the more senior officers, the more senior people amongst the team, not to acknowledge what was going on with Fitz so that they can have their moment, they can have their gut-punching moment. And also, this is something that by itself is not a bad plot point. In fact, it's a very crucial plot point, but everything with Fitz and Gemma and everything going on right there was just so rooted in emotion and vulnerability that Coulson's thing ended up feeling kind of superfluous and made me think that was probably better off in another episode. So it kind of tainted it a little bit in the sense that I wish this was in another episode and not in this one, and it kind of just eluded it, besides not only getting Coulson within Hale's ranks so that he can figure out who's pulling the strings, who we also get a little taste of at the end of the episode where Hale's reporting to somebody who hails Hydra. I think they set that up for a joke. They must have. And she's talking to some mysterious figure who gives her odium, which is that shit that Cassius used to roid himself up, so that's pretty interesting, but it sets up several questions that, sure, could be answered in the next few episodes, or it could also be fail-safes for the writers to have something to go back to once they get that green light for Season 6. So, only time will tell, but for the meantime, you know that the entire backbone of this episode was everything that was going on with Fitz, and it's something that could not make me overlook the entire thing from wanting to do a review, no matter how late that it really was. And with that, I'm going to be giving The Devil Complex, which is this week's episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a solid 9 out of 10. I was kind of going back and forth between being a low or a solid. I went with the solid only because I was that close from squeezing my tear ducts to actually shed one out at the very end there. And only S.H.I.E.L.D. was able to really do that, as opposed to some of these other blockbuster shows. And you know that you got a really good episode and probably one of the best of the season on your hands when you're able to get me to that point. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of this week's episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What did you guys think of this whole thing that was going on with Fitz? Do you think that there's any kind of redemption for him? Do you think that he's fucked beyond belief? Or do you think that they might just have him be the character to... I mean, now we just got two characters that could potentially sacrifice themselves. You got Coulson, and then you got Fitz, because they going through that somewhat redemptive arc where they got some personal struggles to deal with, and maybe they both feel like death could be the only answer. Who knows? It looks like they're going for an angle where there could be some finality, considering that this might be the last season. Only time will tell. Let me know all of you guys' thoughts in the comments. Make sure you like and share this video. And of course, do not forget to subscribe to support the channel, and also to stay tuned for some footage that I've managed to capture around Wondercon here in Anaheim, California, including some snippets from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. panel. Nothing that's breaking any kind of rules or anything like that, just like some introductions and stuff like that. But besides that, also stuff from the show floor that I'm really excited to bring you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Alright, baby, I'm done.
That was more than 5 fucking minutes.
This debuted back in 2003 when it was becoming really hot with the whole intellectual property of not just Spider-Man, but pretty much anything that's Marvel related for a very key demographic centered around young teens. And what better network to put this thing on than on the network that is very much aimed at young teens, MTV.
Best dressed? Please, the girls got hips like snack trays.